Hi, my name is Shanice. Here on this first page, you'll see my cat and my dog, Stormy and Woods. I enjoy working out, hanging out with my friends and family. I work a ton. I have two jobs. I work at the Salem Boys and Girls Club, and I work at Sea Level Salem on the wharf. My goal is this semester is to get my associates in health science, and then I'm going to go and do the nurse ed program in the fall of 21 at North Shore. And that will give me another associate's degree, and then I'll get my RN at Endicott, hopefully. I'm taking this course specifically because it is a graduation requirement, but it's also interesting and it's important for my career and for my semester and for my degree this year. The trolley car dilemma, my option would be to switch the lever away from the 5 individuals and save more people, which is like doing the greater good and greater number, which is utilitarianism. I also just think ethically that it will cause less of mourning, and less families and friends are hurt, and less medical services are required for less people. So I like things like that. So I just think that overall it is a better situation in the long run. For the lying dilemma, I would not have the child lie. Morally and ethically, I think that's incorrect, and that's a personal belief. So obviously, everyone's going to see the situation differently, as in, like, yes, white lying is not always terrible, and she's young, and it's her birthday, and that's great. But children are super resilient and understanding at this age, and explaining to them and honesty, and offering them even something else, or offering them just like the correct explanation as a parent and teaching them the right thing, overall is just better, as well as just reiterating that the carnival will always be back next year and things like that. So it's not like really a loss for her either. I feel like it's better for the child to know, what's right from wrong, and not get into the habit of lying, or not assume that things like that are okay, because you never know. Developmentally wise, she could take that and run with it in the wrong direction, or of course she could tell a white lie once and never do it again, but who knows. So for my paper, I wrote about the Stanford prison experiment, which involved a Dr. Philip G. Zimbardo, who was like a professor at Stanford University at the time. He was a psychology professor. So it involved 24 middle-class college students who were white males, in 1971, from August 15th to August 21st at the Stanford University in Stanford, California. Some unethical practices for his experiment. I mean, there was quite a few, but they just served inadequate diet to the prisoners. They used force with force. So the guards, as peers between guards and prisoners, the guards did use unexceptional force, inhumane treatment, the way they spoke to them, locked them in closets, and pretended it was the whole, fed them, they went without meals when they were in trouble, things like that. Severe violation of autonomy and justice, obviously, as well as other bioethical principles, but they were completely stripped of their autonomy, the prisoners. They couldn't make any decisions for themselves. They could barely speak without getting in trouble. And lack of informed consent. So the prisoners were actually arrested at their houses when they weren't supposed to be. It was to make it more realistic, but they were arrested and chained and left in chains, which isn't how it actually works in a normal prison. So the imagery was just very, very off, and a lot of unethical things. So some of my personal thoughts. I was outraged, intrigued. I found it interesting, to be honest. It was almost outrageous and intriguing at the same time. As this experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks or more, and after just 6 days it had to be terminated, because after 36 hours prisoners were showing severe psychological issues already, between they were not thinking correctly, hallucinations, having bad thoughts. It was just honestly crazy to see. They tried to form a prison break, basically, to get out, a riot, and it was just all in all over in terms of force and unethical treatment. So that was interesting to see. The guards took a really authoritative position very fast. It was almost uncomfortable for them, but easy at the same time. I thought it was inhumane treatment of obviously the people participating, but it was an incorrect representation of prison as well. And that was said in the results too. The experiment itself didn't pose any real results, like technically, but it was more of like Zimbardo's thought of what a prison should be like rather than a real representation. So overall, the result didn't prove much of anything other than when you're like systemically oppressed, you tend to have psychological issues or differences, but the the outcome for this experiment was far more detrimental than any real prison outcome as well. Obviously, it depends how it's handled, but yeah. So that was that. I look forward to working with the rest of you this semester.